Hello and welcome to another episode of Blank to Bank Fishing. This episode is baits for beginners. For most fishermen and certainly beginners, one of the hardest things to make a decision on is what bait to use. Hopefully this video will give you an insight into the range of baits out there and help you make an informed choice on your next trip. There are literally thousands of baits out there and each of them serve a different purpose. What you will know if you've been fishing for a long time, and you will very soon learn if you've just started fishing, there is no one bait that will catch you fish on every lake. Some people may argue bread, but if the fish simply aren't feeding or you can't get in a position on that lake to use things like bread when you're surface fishing, you still won't catch them. A common bait used by many people nowadays are what are known as pop-ups. Now these are baits that do not sit on the bottom, they sit slightly up, and you set up your hook rig to work with this type of bait. For example, these would normally sit somewhere between 2 and 4 inches off the bottom, and they're buoyant baits, so they sit up a bit. The idea being with these that if you've put out a bed of bait there for the fish, that your hook bait, which will be these, and the hook will be just protruding underneath them. The idea is that the fish will come in, and where this is just that little bit above them, hopefully the fish will take this instead of the bait you've put out, or possibly be munching on that bait and then pick up your one of these. You'll notice with these ones, for example, these are what are known as high visual ones, and these are mainline ones, but there's lots of different brands out there. They come in different colours. Now there's literally loads and loads and loads of different colours, and as I said, there is no one set way. For example, these are white ones, you've got the orange, yellows, there's tons of different colours out there, but none of them work on every lake, and it can depend on the day, it can depend on the time, it can depend on where you are. The most important thing when you're fishing is you have to be where the fish are. You need to get on point with them, but just because you caught them on a pop-up one day, that doesn't mean you'll catch them the next day. And that's one of the things you learn as you go through your fishing journey. Other types of baits are these. These are known as boilies. Again, you get them in lots of different colours, shapes, sizes, just like your pop-ups. So a lot of people generally will fish 12 or 15 millimeters, but they do go all the way up. You get 20 millimeter ones. You can get a bit more than that, but you need to do that based on what you were trying to fish. If you're using 20 millimeter boilies on your average day ticket lake, you're probably not going to catch anything. So you have to kind of tailor your bait to the situation. The difficult thing is as I said, there is no one set method that will catch you on every lake. A good bait for when you're first starting out, certainly if you're not worried about size or anything like that, you just want to catch fish, maggots are always quite a good bet, whether you're fishing a lake or a river, because they are kind of the replica baits of normal things they would be eating. They'd be eating bugs and grubs and such like that, so you've got to try and match it to where you're fishing. Other baits that people commonly use when carp fishing or even fishing for tench or anything like that, people often use luncheon meat, or spam as it's also known. You can just buy this from your regular supermarket, generally for about £1.50, £2 or so. You can also get it from your fishing shops. They're normally infused with some sort of scent or flavour to make them better. I haven't really actually tested them myself to say whether they're any better or not, I don't know. Certainly when I was growing up, them kind of things weren't really around from my knowledge, but each to their own. And if you want to try that, it's always good to get on the bank and give something new a try. Another really good bait that seems to catch you fish on most lakes most of the time, as long as you're fairly savvy with it, is is sweet corn. Fish love sweet corn, and it doesn't seem to fill them up too much. You quite happily pump out a bit of a bed of that without having too many issues. Something else you may see other anglers using on the bank is these sorts of things. Now these are basically liquid goos that you can apply to your hook bait, or you can actually put them into the ground bait mix, or even put them into your solid PVA bag when you're making that. As you can see from these ones, there's lots and lots of different makes out there. For example, there's the Goo, Kiana Goo ones, and there's Nash, but lots of the companies all use their own brands, and they literally come in hundreds of different flavours. Some of them will smell pleasant to you. For example, you might have a nice smelling one. Other ones are absolutely horrendous. So you got to remember, it's for the fish, it's not for you. Otherwise you will just be choosing them. But they're all tried and tested methods that have obviously caught lots of fish. Now these bottles are generally, they can be anywhere from around £7 to £15 or so they are quite expensive. They do last a while depending on how often you use them, and certainly mine last quite a while, so I don't overuse them or stick them with everything. I just use them when I need that extra bit of attraction, really. But what I would suggest is, if you're just starting out and you're on a bit of a budget, maybe avoid these at the start, because you'll soon find when you're picking up Boilies or Popups, you want to have a few different flavours, and it can quite quickly become quite a lot of money for these sorts of things. So at first, try and keep it fairly basic. If you don't have any fishing shops, or you're not keen on buying things online, then your best bet would be to go to your supermarket and pick up your lunch meat and sweet corn and give that a try first.